attend Signal Group's annual conference. I wish to extend my appreciation to Signal and Chris Whitty for their enduring commitment to the China-Israel friendly exchanges and cooperation. Over the past 6 months since my arrival in Israel, I have been deeply impressed by the tremendous vitality and the many marvels achieved by this small country, which really ignited my curiosity. At the same time, I realized that Israel, facing a unique geopolitical environment, has no room to retreat when dealing with complex situations, leaving it with no choice but to go all in. So it leaves me with a question.
Welcome to True Breakdowns, hosted by Trey.
Welcome to True Breakdowns with your host Trey. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button, and that notification bell. It's completely free and it helps me push the channel through the algorithm. Thank you. Now let's talk about what's going on with the United States government, the Iranian government, and the proxy governments behind the scenes that pretty much rely on Iran for their energy.
That cast his country as a defender of peace and stability. CBS's Anna Coren is in Beijing tonight with new reporting inside the world's other superpower.
Jerica, China's leadership is bracing for the impact of the war in Iran, preparing for a severe disruption to its energy supplies. But many are asking why China, one of Iran's closest allies, hasn't stepped in to help. As China's foreign minister took to the stage for his annual media press conference, the war in Iran was top of his agenda. This is a war that never needed to happen, said Wang Yi, calling for military operations to cease immediately. Iran has long been a trade partner to China, in recent years selling most of its US-sanctioned oil to Beijing. China imports 70% of its energy, and Iran makes up 13% of its crude intake. That supply line has now been cut off. Why hasn't China come to Iran's aid?
I think China is already coming to Iran's aid by explicitly condemning this war. Now, if you expect that China will come with military means, this expectation is completely unwarranted.
China analyst Victor Gao says there is no treaty of mutual defence between the two countries, nor does China underwrite its allies' security, as we saw when the US captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro back in January. But events in the Middle East could overshadow the upcoming high-stakes summit between the United States and China. The country's top diplomat warning that dialogue is the only way to avoid misunderstandings that could lead to confrontation.
Now, in recent reports, we're learning that Donald Trump has called off the meeting with Iran and Pakistan. Jared Kushner, J.D. Vance, and the rest of Trump's cabinet, select members of that cabinet, were supposed to meet with Iranian officials in Pakistan. Now, that deal fell through, obviously, because Trump called off the meeting, saying that the real leaders were not going to be at the meeting. Check it out.
Okay, you probably heard that we canceled the trip. We have all the cards. We're not going to spend 15 hours in airplanes all the time going back and forth to be giving a document that was not good enough. And so we'll deal by telephone, and they can call us anytime they want. Again, we have all the cards. They have no military left, practically. They have no leaders left. We don't know who the leaders are. Nobody knows who the leaders are. I don't think they know who the leaders are, very importantly. So you saw that. And any other questions?
Yes, sir. What have you heard from Pakistan? The Iran's foreign minister was in Pakistan yesterday night.
I think Pakistan is terrific. I think the field marshal is fantastic. I think the prime minister of Pakistan is great. And, you know, they'd like to see something happen. But we're not going to be traveling 15, 16 hours to have a meeting with people that nobody ever heard of before.
Now, what you need to know is that there's a lot more layers to these negotiations that our government is not mentioning. And that's primarily because adversaries wouldn't own up to it, and it would just make our administration look crazy. In order to say that you're in a war with another country, that country has to agree with it, or else your country looks like the aggressor. And in this scenario, that's the case. And the reason I'm saying that is because, one, I don't technically think this is a full-out war or a conventional war. It's more so a conflict that's being blown up to be a war. And looking back on it, I don't think historians will call this a war either. They'll most likely just call this a conflict or a Cold War, possibly. From my analysis, it looks like China's not coming to the table. I know people want to blame Netanyahu. They want to blame Israel. That's like the default factory setting for placing blame. But from my perspective, I think Netanyahu's been neutralized. I mean, Israel, they have what they want. Gaza's been destroyed, Israel's in ruins, and they can pretty much build it back better if that's what they're trying to do with Israel for the greater Israel project. So if Israel didn't have what they want, Jared Kushner wouldn't be going on these negotiation deals. So that's why I believe that Netanyahu isn't the root of negotiations falling through. From my perspective, I think that China's not coming to the negotiations table, and they're still dealing with this in proxy as if they're not the reason behind America's heightened security demonstration with the Navy. Because China has been in proxy and through their intelligence MSS organization, they have been pretty much engaging in warfare, but covert warfare, such as buying up all the agricultural land, all of the real estate, and inflating the prices, destroying the land after purchasing it, starting real estate projects and not finishing them just to create more homeless and squatters and more chaos within the housing industry of America. So to me, it looks like China's been throwing rocks and hiding their hands and playing as if they're like this neutral, peaceful entity, but that's just not the case. They're extremely gung-ho on surveillance. They're going to be implementing a CBDC before America does. America's actually banned it, and they're moving away from that. They're going towards decentralization and more freedom of ownership. For now, that's what it looks like. I mean, that could change, policies could change, but for now, that's what it looks like. Based on us branching away from Europe, who's also leaning towards what China's trying to do with the surveillance, AI, heightened security protocols for control over their population. So that's pretty much what's going on right now with the relationship between the US and Iran. Iran is more of a front man for this war, and China's using them in proxy to engage in the crippling of the West, mainly America, the United States. But China is not strong enough to engage in a conventional war with the US, especially whether it's in the water or the air, maybe land, but we would have to invade them. They say China would be able to invade us with as many people as they have mainland, but all those people aren't in the military, so there's that. But when it comes to these trade wars that have been happening, these wars have been happening for like the past 6 or 7 years from what I can see, or they just gotten more blatant. But China has been attacking our economy through Israel. Israel has been giving China military secrets, tech secrets, and China has been trading with Israel and providing them military resources, weapons, like they do the US. In this clip, you'll see that China and Israel have no plans of ending their relationship. Pax Silica is what's pretty much going to be the result of these negotiations and America pulling out of the Middle East. And their focus is going to pivot to the West Coast and pretty much energy independence in the West. Why did I say West Coast? I mean the Western Hemisphere. And pretty much industrializing the Western Hemisphere towards a more AI ready or AI capable nation. So some will argue that the AI is primarily for surveillance and control, and that might be the case. The United States may be trying to put their ducks in a row before they actually flip the switch for, you know, the whole minority report scenario. But for now, I mean, it looks like we have we're going to be getting decentralization until 2030. I know that's when legislation renews and then they can, you know, think about a CBDC. But as far as the other BRICS nations are concerned, I just think this is mainly with China, and Trump wants China at the negotiations table because this peace treaty doesn't work if China's not there and they continue to, you know, proceed with these proxy attacks, whether it's through our real estate market or other channels in our economy. So, I mean, I'll show you the proof through this video, but let's continue so I can pretty much highlight the relationship between Israel and China in the love triangle.
A trade war and how Israel falls in the middle. We have Ilan Maor, the managing partner of Sheng BDO. Ilan, thank you so much for coming in today.
My pleasure.
All right, so first of all, you know, how big of a role does China play in Israel's economy at the moment?
Well, I think it is a growing role in general, and technology, investment, trade, and so on. It's growing fast. You know, we just started relations with China in 1992 when we had $50 million trade between the countries, and now we are above 10 billion. So we've been moved forward, but it's still probably the tip of the iceberg comparing to what can be done.
And so how great of a loss to the economy would that represent if Israel decided to go with America's route and kind of end trade or at least severely limit trade with China?
Well, I think we're a little bit over-exaggerating it. I don't think the Americans really expect Israel to stop trade with China or to stop all the relationship with China. They start with security and defense issues, and then we agreed with that, and basically there is no military cooperation between Israel and China since 2001, 2002. And now we're talking about economy and business. If we stop the Chinese investors from coming to Israel, if we reduce the volume of trade, it will harm the Israeli economy. There is no question. We are talking about probably one of the biggest economy in the world, soon to be the biggest economy in the world. We are talking about the new world of unlimited opportunities. And giving it up does not make sense.
So then, you know, the big question, will the United States, or rather, how soon will Israel have to choose between China and the United States, and what will that choice look like?
Well, I think we don't have to choose between them. We have been in this type of triangle for the past 20 years, managing relationship on the one hand with the US, which is our biggest ally on all aspects, political, military, strategy, and so on, and nurturing the cooperation with China, which is becoming an important ally of Israel. Now, aside of the military aspect, I don't think we have to choose. I think we have to manage the relationship. We have to be careful with what we do. And we have to be careful of letting ourselves being dragged into what is majorly an economic conflict. It is great that the American president wants his companies to make more money and bring more money to the US. This should not affect our cooperation with China on 90% of the aspects of the economy.
And obviously, when you're in a love triangle, that love triangle is going to fizzle out. And that's what they're not explaining as well. I mean, you could do your research. You'll understand that Israel was conducting espionage out west in America and providing them technology secrets to China. They've been doing that since the 80s. So that's another thing that the government isn't mentioning, and that Israel is like one of China's main lobbyists in DC. So that's another thing that they're not mentioning. So China has been deeply embedded into America through proxy Israel. So Israel's been double dipping on both sides. And that's what you need to understand. Like, Israel is not a loyal country. And that's what a lot of these analysts aren't saying either, is that Israel's been directly working with China. How do you think China got into our real estate industry, especially in California?
Foreign purchases of U.S. homes. Grady Trimble joining us from Capitol Hill. How much are they buying, and is Congress going to do anything about it?
Billions of dollars worth, Stuart. And to answer your second question, some lawmakers say Congress does need to do something to stop Chinese nationals from buying up U.S. real estate and to help U.S. citizens to live out the American dream.
I mean, if you Zillow a house, you see a Chinese name owning the house, $1 million home, and they bought at the bottom in cash. So Israel was doing a lot of manipulation through lobbying in DC and shifting narrative for geopolitical favor. And they were using America's military muscle to create conflicts and obviously push the Greater Israel Project as they created confusion. But as Zionist kind of pretty much reaches its end because folks are just not buying into it, you can see that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Israel. I don't think Israel's going to disappear. These are just my predictions. I don't think Israel's going to go anywhere. I think Israel got what it wanted. They destroyed Israel and they destroyed Gaza. So they'll be able to rebuild it together as like some joint nation. And that's pretty much how you do things. You destroy it to build it back better. So yeah, that's kind of what I see happening. I see Marco Rubio becoming president to take over or to fulfill the Monroe Doctrine 2.0, which is pretty much Pax Silica. And Pax Silica is pretty much the United States returning its focus and its priority to the Western Hemisphere, all of the continent of America and the Caribbeans. So that's what you're going to be seeing. And energy should drop from there because we're going to industrialize Cuba, we're going to industrialize Haiti, and we're going to industrialize a lot of less developed areas, like I said, in the Caribbean and Western Hemisphere.
To be here. We're honored to have with us Secretary Wright, whose leadership in energy policy has been instrumental in driving progress to help build a stronger and more resilient energy future for America. And I'm delighted to get a chance to introduce Joel Kaplan, Meta's Chief Global Affairs Officer, who will share more about our announcement and the projects we're supporting. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Wright and Joel Kaplan to the stage.
Thanks, Orby. Hey, everyone. Thank you all for coming. As Orby said, I'm Joel Kaplan, Chief Global Affairs Officer at Meta. It's great to be here today with all of you to announce a major step forward in our energy strategy. But first of all, I do also want to thank Secretary Wright for joining us today. Mr. Secretary, it's an honor to have you here. I'd also like to express my deep appreciation to you, President Trump, and his entire administration for their unwavering commitment to American leadership in AI. The bold vision outlined in the President's AI Action Plan, combined with decisive support for expanding reliable energy sources like nuclear power, is essential to winning the AI race and vital to our economic and national security. I also want to thank our partners, Vistra, TerraPower, and Oklo. Your commitment to advancing nuclear energy in America and supporting local communities in the process is critical to powering innovation and securing our country's AI future. I also want to recognize the teams and individuals who operate and build nuclear generation facilities across the country for the engineering excellence, operational rigor, and unwavering focus on safety and security that you demonstrate every day. Today's announcement is an investment in the future of the American economy. Our agreements with Vistra, TerraPower, and Oklo, and the one we signed with Constellation Energy last year, make Meta one of the most significant corporate purchasers of nuclear energy in American history. These projects are going to create thousands of skilled jobs, add new energy to the grid, extend the life of 3 existing nuclear plants, and accelerate new reactor technologies. With Vistra, we've got a 20-year agreement to purchase 2.6 gigawatts of energy from 3 existing nuclear power plants in Ohio and Pennsylvania, which includes the expansion of these plants by 433 megawatts. We know that building new energy resources is essential, but maintaining and expanding existing energy assets on the grid is just as important. Our agreement with Oklo helps advance the development of an entirely new small modular reactor nuclear site in Pike County, Ohio, with up to 1.2 gigawatts of power, and supports new HALEU fuel supply in the U.S. Our agreement with TerraPower will provide funding that helps accelerate the development of 2 new Natrium small modular reactor units with expansion up to 2.8 gigawatts. All told, these agreements will unlock up to 6.6 gigawatts of new and existing nuclear energy capacity by 2035. Investing in nuclear strengthens our country's energy infrastructure.
It's the easiest thing to do, but I think the man has cancer and he's pretty much dying now and he's in hiding. So I don't think Trump is afraid of him anymore. I truly think that Trump is trying to wrap up the war, and I could just see it on him. But it's a lot of factors and elements that either A, people just don't understand, or they just won't acknowledge because they have other agendas, like the Nick Fuenteses and the Tucker Carlsons. They won't mention this shit, but Tucker Carlson won't tell you that Israel was one of China's main lobbyists in DC, and that they pretty much traded weapon secrets, and that China pretty much provides weapons to Israel as well. It's not just the US. China gives Israel tanks and weapons, and that's what your government's not telling you. So we've both been supplying Israel from both sides, and the love triangles come to an end. And that's epic fury. That's the cutting of the tie between China and making Israel truce. So Israel got what they wanted. They got Gaza, and they will get Gaza, or parts of it, whatever they destroyed and leveled, and they'll just build it all back as a bigger Israel. I don't truly think that Trump thought, or Israel thought, that they could win a war in Iran. I really don't think they thought that. The Persian Empire, get out of here. I don't think they thought that, but I think that was part of Pax Silica to screen China and create conflict with China with their main energy supplier, because they were in the Western Hemisphere conducting, not saying, it's not within the human right for them to do that, but apparently from a political standpoint, it wasn't. They were in a part of the yard that they shouldn't have been in, conducting trade deals and trying to manipulate our economy. So it was a form of warfare, just wasn't traditional. This is all too complex for the average American to understand. Not saying you're stupid or anything like that, but this took, for me to understand this stuff, I've been really watching this stuff for the past 4 or 5 years, because my money's tied into it, and this is what I invest in. So, you have to have an interest in this, in the geopolitical landscape and where we could potentially be heading. So having foresight is key. Not saying I'm always right, but I do think Marco Rubio will be president. So it's going to be another Republican, because Republicans are pretty much the only ones that can see this through. A Democrat can't see this through, and I don't think Democrats are going to even try to step up to the plate. I can see that right now. I can't see AOC or who's the other guy? Gavin Newsom. I'm in California. I'm from California. I forgot his name, but yeah, he's a shitbag. Yeah, Gavin Newsom. There's no way he can handle this, because he's only good for exploiting people. I really think Marco Rubio's trying to industrialize the Western Hemisphere and make a change, or he's gonna at least try, from what I can see. So yeah, hopefully that explains things. Once again, I think Russia's not really too involved. I think that was what that meeting was back in 2025 when Trump and Russia had the whole military show of power. That was just a show to be all right, just you don't get involved with the Iran shit, because we about to go hit up Iran. So, okay, we see you're strapped, we're strapped. We're going to go fuck with Iran now, so y'all just stay out of it, and we'll deal with it with China. And that's kind of what that was, I think. This is, like I said, and I've really thought about this. I'm it can't be Netanyahu. I know it sounds cool and like Netanyahu is like the big bad boogeyman, but the Epstein files is pretty much, it's like, we get it. Like, if Trump's in it, they blackmailed him. I mean, he knows his fate. If he's really in the files, like, it's gonna come out. So like, it kind of does look like Trump is trying to protect his reputation. Like, there's something incriminating in there in those files, and you know, if he was harming children, then obviously that's something that's he's gonna have to answer to. But yeah, I just don't think that the Epstein files is what's keeping him from making the negotiations, because Netanyahu has what he wants. And I don't think Netanyahu wants Iran. There's no way we could take Iran. It's a land power. You can't, it's really hard to take a land power, especially with a navy. Like, that's dumb. That's stupid. And it's gonna take them at least a decade to replenish their forces to take Iran. Like, them 8-year-olds and them crazy ass settlers, they gotta grow up a little bit and get some muscle on before they can go over to Iran and see about it. I'm not saying this shit ain't gonna boot up again, because it could possibly boot up again, because Israel might want more territory. The Greater Israel Project does not stop. You're gonna start seeing evangelical Zionists, you know, kind of back down off of Zionism for now, because they don't have any more cards to play. And Trump was right. Like, we got all the cards. Like, out west, we do have all the cards because of energy independence. I'm not saying that people have all the cards, but whoever, like the military industrial complex, has all the cards. Now, will the people benefit? I guess we'll wait and see. Now, I do think with Marco Rubio's presidency, if he was to become president, I'm sure in oil. Because he's pretty much acting as the Western Hemisphere president for the United States. Like, when Trump joked around and said Marco Rubio's gonna be president of Cuba, like, I kind of took that seriously. Like, oh, he's probably gonna be president of the United States to see the Monroe Doctrine 2.0 through. And Monroe Doctrine is pretty much a pivot to focusing, like I said, on the Western Hemisphere development and ensuring its safety and security. And that goes with controlling trade, obviously. Now, with Greenland, I mean, that's a whole nother video, but obviously Trump sees Greenland as a territory for resources. I mean, Europe hasn't really tried to industrialize it, or create like an economy for a place like Greenland. And that's going to be another expedition for America when it comes to energy independence. So I do think NATO's going to give up Greenland without a fight because of what we'll be offering Europe. Europe needs energy. It's not just we're taking Greenland from Europe. They're going to benefit as well, as an ally. So it's going to be each one teach one. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this whole New World Order. But hopefully that makes sense. This is just some theory with some truth if you can research it. The stuff I said about China and Israel are true. So that love triangle is pretty much severed for now. And yeah, my rant is done. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. Trey on True Breakdowns. All your comments and support go a long way in pushing me through the algorithm. I'm out here trying to get a motherfucking YouTube scholarship. I'm gone. Peace.
I've been up in here trying to get a motherfucking scholarship.